Hi, and welcome back to another session of EndNote Bytes. So today we're going to be talking about is online sharing. And with that, basically I'm going to be showing you 4 different ways to share your EndNote references with other people who also use EndNote. So first thing I'm going to do is share my screen and open up my EndNote library. Okay, so this is the EndNote Bytes library that we've been using for the other sessions of EndNote Bytes. And I guess the first thing that I should show you is how to create an EndNote Online account, because that's the first method we're going to use. And basically with the EndNote Online account, what you can do is share groups of your references with other people who also have EndNote Online accounts. So I'm going to go to Firefox, and to create an EndNote Online account, I'll just show you where to go to do it. So I'm going to scroll down and hit this Web of Science Core Collection button from our Medical Center Library webpage. And on this Web of Science page, hit this Products button up here at the top right. And then under Reference Manager, select EndNote. Now, this takes you to a login page. You'll need to sign up for an account if you don't have an EndNote Online account already. But I already have one, so I'm going to log in. And I actually used my University of Kentucky email address to create the EndNote Online account, and I would recommend that you all do the same thing, because it'll just make it easier when other people are trying to share EndNote groups with you if you're all using your University of Kentucky emails. And now I'm going to sign in. Okay, so this is what it looks like in an EndNote Online account. So I guess first thing I should show you is I'm going to go back to my EndNote program. And so I actually don't have this EndNote Bytes library associated with my EndNote Online account. So I'm going to close this library and open up my primary EndNote library that I use for EndNote Online. So with this, once you have the library that you want to associate your EndNote Online account with, you need to make sure that it is associated. So to do that, you're going to do that in your preferences. So go up to the edit button and select your preferences. And here you're going to select the sync settings. And from here, use the EndNote Online email address and password that you just created, and then enable the sync. Set it to sync automatically, hit the apply button if you need to, hit the OK button. And then for the first time doing it, you will need to go to the sync status and then press the sync now button. And basically when you do that, your library that you've associated with your EndNote Online account will have those references and groups put into the EndNote Online account. And you can see the references from the library that I associated and the groups over here. So if I wanted to associate a library group and share that with someone else, I can go into, it's under Organize and it's Manage My Groups. So if I hit this Manage Sharing button next to the group that I selected, I can add a person, email address that also has an EndNote Online account and give them permissions, whether it's to read only or to read and write. And then I can apply that once I put their email address in. And I've already done this for Kayla, and she can see it on her end. Now, what that would look like for me if she shared a library with me is it'll be under here, under my groups. It says groups shared by others, and it's a Cochrane group. So if I open that up, I can see the references that she shared with me. And if I go back to my EndNote library, it appears the same way. So there's my groups over here, and then there's groups shared by others, and it appears here. And then if I click on that link, it will bring me back to that group that she shared with those two references here. And so that's basically how that works with EndNote Online. You sync it, you share your groups with other people, and they can share them with you too. Okay, so another way to share your EndNote references with other people is to upload it to OneDrive. So what I mean by that, I'm actually going to close out the EndNote Online library I was using and go back to the EndNote Bytes library. Okay, so if I wanted to put this one on OneDrive, I'll show you guys how I did that. So back in my web browser, I already have my OneDrive open and I created a folder for it. And basically what you want to make sure that you do is that you upload both the .enl, that's the EndNote library file, with the .data folder with associated data, PDFs, that kind of thing. The main thing is you want to keep those two together because the EndNote library file won't work without the data folder. And we do recommend that you use UK's OneDrive over Google Drive or anything like that. Because with University of Kentucky's OneDrive, there is versioning, so you can go back to a previous version of the file if something gets messed up with it. And then also with the OneDrive, you can actually share the links to your folders and your files with other people. So another way to do this is to create a compressed library within EndNote. So if you go up here to the file button, and then it's the last option before the exit button. So it's the compressed library.enlx. So if you go here, you can actually select what you want to share. If I wanted to share this whole library, I can hit that all references in library. Or if I wanted selected references, I could highlight them. Or if I wanted to only share a group or a group set, I could do that. But so if you create it, and then you can choose whether you want to attach files or not. But the idea here is that it creates a .enlx file. And what the enlx file is, it's a zipped file, basically, where it contains both the data folder and the EndNote library. So if I hit next here, I can rename it. So I'm going to call it EndNote Bytes.compressed library and save it here in my documents with all those other EndNote libraries. So I'm going to save it, and it created the compressed file. So I'm going to go there and show you what that looks like now. I think I skipped it. Okay, it's here at the bottom. So, like I said, I renamed it EndNote Bytes-compressed library, and it does have the .enlx file type. So what that's going to do is I'm going to open it. And what it did was it created the .enl, the EndNote library, and the data folder. So if I go back just kind of refresh my documents. So it did create the data folder for the compressed library version. And it also created the EndNote library file for it. So that's just something else you can do. You can upload the compressed libraries to OneDrive, like we did with the two separate files, or you can actually email the .enlx files to other people, because it'll be treated like a zip file, and when they open it, it'll just create the library file and data folder. And that's my preferred way of doing that, actually, of sharing with people. So there is one other thing that you can do. So you can send specific references to people as a light text or XML file. So what I would do in that case is, if I wanted to, say, select all these references and send them to someone as a text or XML file, what I can do is go up here to File and then hit the Export button. So I'm not going to rename the file, but what I can do is select the type. So I'm going to leave it as text for now. And then make sure that your output style is the refman RIS export. That way you'll get the most out of your fields that are being copied to the text file. And then hit the Save button. So actually, I'm going to take this to Documents instead of the EndNote 20 folder. Okay, so now if I want to import the references from that text file into a new library, I'm going to close this library and create a new one. So I'm going to call this one text file library. And bring the EndNote screen over here. So now what I can do is go to File and Import and select File. So the type of document that I just created was a text file. So what I'm going to do is select the tab delimited and then select the text file that I just created. And it's this compressed library.txt. So I'm going to open that up. And the import option selected is correct. So I'm going to import it. And so that's just another way of transferring your references easily. You create the text file using the file export option, and then the person on the other end will import it using the file type and selecting the file, and you can get the references that you sent them into their library that way. And so those are just 4 different ways of sharing EndNote references and groups with other people. So if you have any questions about this, if you want help getting EndNote online or any of this set up on your computer, you can email us at this mclib@uky.edu email address here, found on our Medical Center Library webpage. And that's it for this EndNote Bytes session. Thanks for watching, everyone.